Ever feel like you're just wired differently? Like the volume of the entire world is turned up to 11 and you're kind of the only one who seems to notice? If you've ever felt totally wiped out by things that other people just shrug off, then you're in exactly the right place. We're about to dive into the actual science of why you feel this way and, way more importantly, what you can finally do about it. See if any of this sounds familiar. For most of your life, you've probably been given labels, right? Maybe someone told you that you were just too intense.
Or that you were being too emotional.
Or maybe you're that person who cries not just when you're sad, but when you're frustrated, angry, or even just overwhelmed by how beautiful a song is. For years, you've probably thought this intensity, this sensitivity, was some kind of personal flaw. But what if I told you it's not?
It turns out, evolutionary biology has a completely different take on this. It's not a flaw, it's a feature. So let's talk about a powerful idea called the orchid brain.
Okay, so the official scientific term is sensory processing sensitivity. But let's be clear about what this means. This is not a disorder, it's a biological strategy. It just means your nervous system is wired to process everything, sights, sounds, social cues, other people's feelings, way more deeply than most people. And if you're thinking, oh great, I'm a weirdo, you are so not alone. This trait is found in about 20% of the population. That's 1 in every 5 people. This isn't some rare anomaly. It's a significant and frankly necessary slice of humanity.
Think about it like this. Biology developed 2 main survival strategies. Most people are like dandelions. They're resilient, they're tough, they can thrive pretty much anywhere. They're the warriors who move fast. But you can't have a tribe of only warriors, right? They'd march right off a cliff. They need you. You are the orchid. You're the tribe's early warning system, the one who notices the subtle shift in the wind that signals a storm is coming. This is probably the best analogy I've ever heard for what's going on inside your head. You're experiencing the world in stunning 8K high definition, while most everyone else is just cruising along in 720p. You don't just notice loud noises, you hear the high-pitched hum of the refrigerator that no one else can hear. You don't just hear what your friend is saying, you feel that tiny hesitation in their voice, and you end up absorbing the sadness they're trying to hide. And this leads to a critical idea called Vantage sensitivity. And yeah, it means an orchid is going to suffer more if you plant it on a concrete sidewalk. But, and this is the whole point, if you put that same orchid in the right environment, in a greenhouse, it doesn't just survive. It blooms with a kind of creativity and insight that dandelions can't even touch. This is your superpower. Okay, so if this is a superpower, why does it so often feel like a curse? Why are you so tired all the time? Well, the answer lies in this massive mismatch between your biology and the world we actually live in. Your entire system was fine-tuned for quiet forest, a low-velocity world where one snapped twig could mean life or death. Your brain was built to process that one signal with incredible depth. But you don't live there. You live here, in a world of high-velocity, non-stop noise, open-plan offices, endless phone notifications, traffic jams, and a 24/7 news cycle designed to flood you with emotion. The result of this mismatch is something called systemic overload. Your brain just doesn't have a filter for all this input. Think of it like a car engine. Your nervous system is constantly redlining, burning massive amounts of fuel just to stay in neutral. Is it any wonder you're exhausted? It's not a character flaw, it's physics. So what do? We stop trying to toughen up the orchid. That's a losing battle. Instead, we start building the greenhouse. And part 1 is all about getting intentional about your sensory environment. You need to start thinking about your sensory diet, seriously. Just like with food, if all you consume is junk sensory input, your system is going to crash. So this means being really strategic about minimizing the stuff that drains you, like those chaotic offices and constant pings, while deliberately maximizing the stuff that nourishes you, like natural light, soft blankets, or even just the sound of rain. And this brings me to a really important reframe. In a loud, distracting world, noise-canceling headphones are not antisocial. They're not some bougie luxury. For you, they are personal protective equipment, PPE for your nervous system. Wearing them isn't being rude, it's just essential maintenance. You also need an emergency escape hatch for when things get to be too much. We'll call it the restorative niche protocol. The second you feel that familiar fog of overstimulation starting to roll in, don't try to power through it, just retreat.
Find a quiet space, your car, an empty office, a stairwell, and for just 5 minutes, do nothing. And this is key. No phone. Just let your system reset. This little habit can prevent those massive crashes later on.
Okay, so that's the outside world. Now let's talk about the second part of our greenhouse, managing your psychological boundaries. Because for a lot of us, this is where the real battle is. You likely experience something we can call the emotional sponge effect. You know those mirror neurons in our brains that help us have empathy? Well, yours are working overtime. So when your friend is anxious, you don't just notice it. You actually feel their anxiety fizzing in your own stomach. You absorb it.
To protect yourself from drowning, you have to learn the difference between empathy and compassion. They're not the same thing. Empathy is feeling with someone. It's like seeing them drowning and you jump into the water to drown right alongside them. Not very helpful, right? Compassion is caring for someone. It's standing on the shore, safe and strong, so you can actually throw them a rope. It's way more sustainable and, frankly, way more helpful.
And because you feel other people's needs so deeply, saying no can feel almost physically painful. So you need a buffer, a verbal shield. I want you to memorize this sentence. From now on, your default answer to any request is, "Let me check my capacity and get back to you."
That simple phrase is a game changer. It buys you a pause. And in that pause, your logical brain has time to come online. And you can ask yourself the really important questions, like, do I actually have the energy for this? Is this person generally nourishing for me or depleting? Is saying yes to this actually good for my greenhouse?
Look, the bottom line is this. The modern world wasn't built for orchids. It's too loud, too fast, too much. But that doesn't mean you don't belong here. It just means you can't live on autopilot. You have to be deliberate. You have to become the architect of your own life.
And please hear this. This is not about building walls and hiding from the world. It is the exact opposite. It's about building a solid home base so you can recharge your batteries, so you actually have the energy and resources to be in the world. When you build your greenhouse, you don't just survive. You finally unlock that Vantage sensitivity. You get to bloom with the kind of depth and creativity that the world is starving for. So as we wrap up, I want you to think about this. You have the blueprint now. So what's the first brick you're going to lay for your greenhouse? Is it buying the headphones? Is it practicing that pause protocol just once? What's one small, real thing you can do today?